Last Jedi got to be one of the most controversial movies of all time. I'm seeing a lot more love for this movie as time goes on. And, you know, not to brag or anything, but I liked it since day one. I'm just different like that. This was the only movie in the trilogy I didn't see in theaters because I was in jail. That's not a joke, by the way. I was actually in jail. But I remember being in the jail room, and I was looking at that little small-ass TV they had, and I was looking at the Last Jedi trailer, and it was that one scene where Kylo Ren was just beating the shit out of his mask. And I remember thinking to myself, yeah, that movie's going to be fucking dope. Too bad I ain't going to see that shit for like another 3 months, though. So when I got out, a friend of mine who was a really big Star Wars fan had the movie on Blu-ray. So I watched that shit, and I fell in love. And then I went online, and every nerd and his fucking mom was hating on the movie. And that shit threw me by surprise. I'm like, yo, this movie's fucking sick. Are y'all dumb or something? Did we watch the same movie? I've never seen so many stupid arguments for and hate for one movie. I get why you would hate the movie, 100%. But the arguments y'all are using are just goddamn stupid. And the same people who hate on this movie were the same people years back hating on the prequels, which are the same people now who are saying the prequels are pretty good. Now that the fire's settled, this movie is yesterday's news. Let's watch the movie, put your feelings aside, and enjoy this shit. You know, I'm just gonna dive right in, and this shit I just can't stand about this movie. The whole Finn and Rose thing. God, this was fucking awful. I'm never gonna let this shit go. We have this stormtrooper turn good. He's wielding a lightsaber and fighting the same man that he used to serve. This is a goated ass fucking storyline. Just say it. Stormtrooper turned Jedi. That shit sounds fucking cool. What did you do with them? You made them ride space horses. And then you did the shit again. Justice for Finn. This whole segment, this whole segment in this movie could have been shortened and trimmed down to, I don't know, allow more time with the actual good characters. More interestinger shit. Instead, we gotta watch this bullshit. And Rose. I mean, I don't hate her as much as everybody else hate her, but goddamn, she's annoying in this movie. And she is responsible for the most cringiest dialogue in the history of cinema ever. You know what? Let me get on Twitter and harass this bitch right quick. This whole side plot with Finn and Rose, it just slows down the pacing of the movie, and it just completely breaks your immersion. I mean, I like the message and the new character, but 100% not worth it. You know, let's sacrifice this new character, and let's sacrifice this whole goddamn plot just to make this movie better. But for real, I actually don't mind Rose at all. I know she got some really corny ass lines in that goddamn kiss. I don't know what it is with Star Wars and awkward ass kisses, but god fucking damn. But if you look past all that corny shit, Rose actually isn't that bad. But other than that, I really can't think of much I don't like about this movie. Even I love the opening. People talk shit about it. I love the opening. Picking up right after The Force Awakens, and I remember people bitching and moaning about this. But how the fuck are you gonna do a time jump from a cliffhanger like this? The way The Force Awakens left off, you have no choice but to start right where you ended. Poe's leading a strike on the Dreadnought. He fucks around, ignoring Leia's orders, and he ends up getting a whole bunch of people killed. Leia demotes him. Remember this. The First Order comes back and fucks the Resistance up. Leia gets blown the hell out of space, and then this shit happens. I know fans wanted to see Leia use the Force, but I'm like 99.9% sure this isn't what they meant. Me personally, I never really gave a damn if she used the Force. The idea of that always just seemed to be lame to me, and this proves my point. This scene is just so awkward, and it throws me off. It actually makes me want to fucking vomit. So what? We needed Leia to be unconscious in order to set up our beef with Poe and Holdo, right? But why like this? Why can't you just have a piece of fucking trash just come whack her upside the head or something, knock her out for the movie, right? Why does it have to be like this? Anyway, she's unconscious, and we bring purple hair bitch, and now she's the big bad bitch in charge. And she refuses to tell Poe her plan, and people hated that shit. Why though? The last thing Leia done before she got knocked the hell out was demote Poe because Poe didn't like her plan and he got a shit ton of people killed. Now, what if Holdo told Poe the plan and he's like, you know what? I don't like that. And then Poe proceeds to do something else and cause more problems, which he did anyway. Like, be for real. Think about this. You're in charge of an army and some punk who just got demoted, got a shit ton of people killed, demands you to tell him his plan. I would have did the same shit. I'm not telling him a goddamn thing. I remember people were like, if Akbar was the one to sacrifice himself, it would have meant more. Be so fucking for real right now. Look at me with a straight face and tell me that you would take this character who's only popular because he was a meme seriously. No, he's a joke character. And I don't think Disney's going to have a character named Akbar just fucking suicide bomb himself, right? That's not going to give a good image for Disney. I saw a video and some guy said, we need a character like Akbar who the audience has an emotional connection to be the one to sacrifice himself. Emotional connection? Bro, he got killed and I did not give a single fuck. I didn't care more for him than any of those stormtroopers that get blown to bits every goddamn movie. And people think this scene retcons all Star Wars space battles, and it doesn't make sense. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Star Wars battles never made any goddamn sense, especially the space battles. I don't know why, it's just this movie all of a sudden people are astrologists and understand space science. It's a movie about space wizards using magic powers and space swords, and you want to nitpick a scene in space because it don't make sense. Or whatever. Let's go to see what Rey's doing with Luke. And the moment that fans been waiting for since 2015. And then Luke does this. How could Luke disrespect the lightsaber like that? It's so out of character. Listen to me. This whole Luke ordeal was the #1 thing in this movie people loved to bitch about and people hated on. And I liked it. I loved what they did with Luke. But Mark Hamill said, I don't give a fuck what Mark Hamill says. Mark Hamill says a lot of shit. Go look at his Instagram. I truly don't give a fuck what he has to say about Luke Skywalker. It does not matter what an actor has to say about the character because it's not their job to tell the director how the character should or shouldn't act. It's their job to fulfill the director's vision of the character. And I can't fucking stand when people are using this as an argument like, Luke's character in this movie sucked and he's not Luke Skywalker because Mark Hamill said so. They pull this shit like a goddamn power move. Checkmate. Mark Hamill said this is not Luke Skywalker. And by that logic, this movie's good because George Lucas liked it. Star Wars is dumb because Alec Guinness said so. It doesn't matter what one of the inside sources have to say about the movie. It doesn't matter what an actor has to say about anything. I think the only reason Mark Hamill didn't get death threats was because of the way he was hating on the movie too. If he was like, oh yeah, Luke was pretty good in this movie, this motherfucker would have been doxed in a heartbeat. And in my opinion, Luke is perfectly in character in this movie. Every trait about him in the originals is present in this movie. Everyone talks about this scene where he senses Kylo, and I quote, bringing destruction, pain, and death at the end of everything I love. He did this same shit in Return of the Jedi because Vader said some shit about Leia and Luke just crashed the fuck out, went all bloodthirsty on Vader. And if it wasn't for the Emperor's loudmouth ass, Luke would have fucking killed Vader. He saw somebody he loved being threatened because of an evil presence. And then Luke just decided to fucking kill. It's his instinct. It always was his instinct. So no, he didn't try to kill Kylo because of a bad dream. You're actually fucking dumb if you say that. All right, let's talk about this though. I love this whole message. Deadass. Watch the prequels and see how flawed the asshats on the Jedi Order are. And Luke's all like, yeah, they're a bunch of hypocrites who think their shit don't stink. And I'm like, yeah, I've been saying that shit, Luke. Luke said this line and everybody went batshit crazy. How can Luke say that about it? When you grow older and you look back at something that you used to like or somebody that you used to look up to, you're now looking at that thing with more experienced eyes. I used to think my uncle was cool until I grew older and I saw him. And I look back at my uncle and I'm like, he's just a fucking bum. Paul Walker, I used to think he was cool until I found out he got a 16-year-old girl pregnant. That was an extreme example, but you get what I'm saying. Luke got older, sat on his rock, and began thinking about the Jedi and was like, you know what? Those guys fucking sucked. Hell yeah, even Yoda came back and was like, yeah, fuck them. So Luke was handled perfectly in this movie, regardless of what Mark Hamill was saying before Disney told him to shut the fuck up. Every scene with him and Rey just have this energy on screen, and I just love it. And I don't see where people are coming from when they say, Rey's powerful as fuck in this movie. I swear to God, I don't get it. I think it's just people mad talking out of their asses, to be honest. He does nothing besides get flung around by Snoke and fight some worthless-ass guards who couldn't win a 15v2. She beat Luke Skywalker. She's a Mary Sue. She beat who now? Did we watch the same movie? Did you watch The First Jedi or something? Because Rey clearly was getting her ass handed to her until she pulls out a goddamn lightsaber. The fuck is Luke gonna do against that with his little windmill? Like, dead ass. This is me fighting Mike Tyson and he's just going down, hammering my ass. And then I pull out a goddamn gun. And then Mike Tyson backs down. You're gonna say I beat Mike Tyson's ass? No, this is literally the same situation. The people who criticize this movie for this are actually just making shit up for the sake of making the movie look worse than it is. Rey does nothing in this movie that makes it out like she's just this almighty powerful god just because she has a pussy. Like I said, we could have had something else, man. We could have made Finn and Phasma beef or something, give them a rivalry for the 3 movies. And whatever. This is where this whole Finn and Rose plot ends, so everyone meets back up in this freaky deaky ass base from the 60s, and everyone's on probably the best looking planet in Star Wars history, and there's no debate. This planet is fucking beautiful. Everyone's stranded, cornered, and nowhere to go. All Lost is hopping, and boom! Luke comes back to save the day. And I remember seeing this for the first time. I'm like, damn, he cut his hair. So him and Leia have this really sweet moment, and Luke walks out and faces the whole First Order. And I thought he died here. But then he didn't. And I'm like, yo, how the fuck did he survive that? And then he pulls out the blue saber that just got broke. And I'm like, bro, no way. How the fuck did he get that? We just saw that shit break. Then he pulls this move with his foot and the white underneath didn't move. And then it all clicked. And I'm like, he's not really there, is he? He buys the Resistance enough time to get the hell out of sight. And for some reason, people didn't like this. I thought this was the coolest shit ever when I first watched it. And I loved the way he died. It was beautiful. It was peaceful. It was the perfect ending. He died because he was tired. No, motherfucker, he's old as shit and he just projected himself across the goddamn galaxy. Bitch, you would die too. Hell, even Kylo said to Rey in one of their little FaceTime calls, "You're not doing this. The effort will kill you." Damn, y'all goddamn Star Wars fan lack critical thinking and the ability to get bitches.
Luke actually should have been there and fought. He died for nothing.
The whole scene just went over your head, didn't it? I'm not even going to attempt to dispute that claim because if you actually think that, you're dumb enough to believe the moon is made of cheese. And then the movie ends with a gang of like 25 people surviving another day to fight a whole ass army. And let's not forget about the boy. It's my favorite ending in any Star Wars movie. Hell, probably any movie ever. I really love this movie. Even after all the shit I just talked about, the people who hate it, I can still see why people have issues with it. And I can respect anyone saying it's a good movie, but a bad Star Wars movie. Because objectively, it is a good movie. With the great acting, great music, great camera work, it's just eye and ear candy. And for those saying that it's a bad movie in general, and Rian Johnson is talentless, and for those saying it's a bad movie, that's just you trying to cope with the fact that the movie isn't the one you wrote in your diary. Hindsight 2024, and this movie is aging very beautifully. I'm constantly seeing more and more love for this movie, and it just warms my heart. Now that I'm not the D1 Disney dick rider that I once was, I've actually grown out of that after seeing The Rise of Skywalker and all the other trash that's been coming out because Disney gave us some of the best Star Wars content we've ever gotten, and probably some of the fucking worst too. I remember back then, if you said anything remotely positive about this movie, it was game over. Like I said, you were a fat, ugly, dumb bitch. I didn't cover everything I would have wanted to cover in this video because like the shit's long enough already. I did say in my The Rise of Skywalker video that came out that after that movie came out, I wanted The Last Jedi to be something different. That's not because I hated The Last Jedi. It's because I hate The Rise of Skywalker with every bone, cell, and muscle in my body that I'd rewrite the entirety of The Last Jedi to prevent fans from being whiny little bitches, and JJ wouldn't be so scared to make a movie that he wanted to make instead of trying to please everyone. Before I log off, I encourage you to just rewatch this movie and just disregard all of your feelings and The Rise of Skywalker and just watch the movie as it is and just let me know what you think. But anyways, I'm off.